Hi guys, Heather here from Mercantile, and we are on day 5 of our DIY Advent Calendar series. If you haven't seen the rest of the videos, be sure to check out the playlist, and while you're at it, you can like this video below to let me know that this is content that you are into. You can also subscribe to our channel. And definitely remember to hit that bell button just so you stay up to date on all of the videos that we are posting in December. Alrighty, so let's get into it. Today we're going to be making a chocolate holly cake. So for today's project, you will need to cut out, we've got 3 little red circles here, tiny little guys. They will be making up our berries. We've got 3 little tiny holly leaves, and then we've got a small brown circle and a large brown circle. You will also be needing some brown thread, some green thread, some red thread, and then we'll be using some lighter brown embroidery floss. Alrighty, let's get started. So we're going to start with the larger of our brown circles. So this one, you're just going to be wanting to do a long running stitch through the outside because we're going to bunch it up into more of a round shape. So we'll start just by going on the very outer edge of this piece, and you're just going to want to make a long running stitch. So in that case, what we do is we just go around the whole perimeter of our circle. You don't need to be too technical with this because we're just using it to make a shape. We're not using it to sew the final piece. So I will show you here what we'll be doing. Just keep going all the way around. While I'm doing this, if you guys have any comments or questions or videos you'd like to see in the future, please leave a comment. I'm willing to do any sort of felt food tutorial if you've got suggestions. Otherwise, we're just going to keep going with the Christmas theme here. So once you have gone around your whole outside circle, like so, you're just going to want to pull it taut so we can make a nice dome shape. So that's all this is for. Make sure it's kind of straightened out throughout the edges. Then you can take your smaller circle just for size. If you give it a pull here, and it makes it tighter on the one side, you can kind of spread that out throughout the piece. We just want a dome shape. We're not looking for perfection here. So that's about the size we're looking for. And then you'll place it on top of the other piece and start your whip stitch. So just maintain that shape until you get it started. Perfect. Alrighty, so now we can just go ahead and whip stitch around the whole edge here. And I won't keep you with me while I do this, but just make sure that you're not getting too bunched on the one side. Just keep that bunch spread out throughout the piece as you're working. And I will come back at the end to show you the finished product. Alrighty, we've sewn all the way around. Now I did forget to mention, of course, that you're going to need to leave a little space for stuffing. And I always forget to mention the polyfill in the materials. I think it's because it's just such a given for me, but we're just going to go ahead and stuff this guy here. You'll want to stuff more towards the top and try and keep the bottom as flat as you can. You don't want to overstuff it so that you get bulky on the bottom as well. So just stuff it enough so that the top looks nice and plush. Then you're going to want to close off the piece. Just keeping with that whip stitch until we close it off. There's really no wrong way to do this. Like, I mean, I'm sure someone out there could find some wrong way to do it, but it's quite easy to make these. I'm actually surprised I didn't do it a whole lot sooner, because sometimes when we look at a finished product that somebody else makes, we think it's like impossible until you go to make it yourself and realize how easy it actually is. Sometimes these crafts are just time consuming rather than difficult. So now that we have finished whip stitching around the edge, we're just going to tie this off, and I will show you how to put the holly berries and the leaves on. So as always, just going to start our whip stitch, make a loop, go around 3 times, and tie off our knot. Then we will use our scissors to cut that. And there we go, we've got our basic shape. So next we want to go in and attach the leaves. We are going to use our green thread and we don't need too much. I always like to use a bit extra because why the heck not? To make my ties on the end, I just wrap it around my fingers twice, give it a little, almost like you're snapping your fingers there, and give it a pull. So now we've got a nice knot. Then you can thread your needle, and we'll just attach these on. So I like to take the biggest one first. I don't like to put it centered. You can put it just a little bit off-centered. As always, coming in from the bottom so we can hide our knot. And you can just attach this to the side. I just do a couple stitches into the material and back out through the leaf just to attach that to the base there. And once it's on well enough, we can go on to the next piece. You don't need to cut your thread every time. Then we go to the next leaf. I like kind of a design of 3 evenly spaced out leaves. Just want them to be on well enough so they're not going anywhere. And last but not least, our tiny little leaf. So sometimes pieces like this are harder to sew when they're on, so I just want to start it when we don't place it. Then do a couple more of these reinforcing stitches going through the piece and just making sure it sticks on nice and good there. So for our leaves, they are now attached. Doesn't need to be perfect because we are going to be going in with the red berries in a second. So we're just going to tie this off, in and loop 3 times, and we will make our tie. Make sure the end piece is out there so you don't get crazy loops. There we go. Now, before I put our berries on, I'm just going to go and do the embroidery portion of this. I just like it to look like a little bit of drizzle that's on the chocolate cake. So we just take our embroidery floss. I always use a bit more than I know that I will need, just so that I'm not stuck with too short of a piece at the end. And it kind of leaves you a little bit of wiggle room if you decide that you want more detail in some spots. So to tie this off, you don't need as many loops as the other thread. I just do a 1, give it a little turn there, and make my knot. So this actually came up with a little tail. You can just cut that off. and thread your needle. This one's a nice, easy project. And if you have to make a couple of them, it's not that hard. So I'm going to start in the bottom corner here. Embroidery floss, when it is not separated, can be a little thick to work with, but all I want to do is come over to the other side, and I'm going to go in like this just to anchor my stitch. Remember, this is just for decoration. Then go across any which way. Watch your end there so it doesn't get stuck. And just keep on crossing however you like it to look. It's all about artistic flair here. There's no perfect way to do it. If there were, I would be here forever. Just keep crossing over. Oops, we got a little bit of a knot started there. And a couple more times just so it looks nice and filled in. And let's just do one more for effect there. Ah, we got more thread. Let's just do one more. So cross it over, tie it off as normal, but with embroidery floss, remember we only want to do two passes around the loop, so we're not it's quite thick, so it's not the 3 that we normally use for a thin thread. Alrighty, so tied off, and we can cut that off. Perfect. So we've got a nice little drizzled cake there. Now for the berries, you can either use wool roving and do little needle felted balls, and you should have learned how to do basic needle felting in our previous videos if you've been following along with the series. But we are just going to use felt and do the embroidery. So because they're so tiny, I'll just show you how I do them. I start them the same way we started our large piece here, and we're just going to do a long running stitch around the outside of this berry. Guys, if you're liking these videos, please click the like button. It just lets me know that this is content that you're interested in, and I can keep making more of these. If you want to see some other videos, like not Christmas food per se, but like I could make anything else really you're looking for, a sushi set, I can teach you how to make, you know, I've even made a felt toilet paper roll in the past for COVID. I thought that would be a fun little project to do. So that is something that you can also work out. If you'd like to see that, I do have a tutorial on my channel already. So now that we've done our running stitch, you just want to give that a slight pull to make it a little ball shape, and then we are going to attach it to our piece here, same way that we did the other ones. And just make sure that it sticks to our final piece and it's nice and attached on there. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and make the other 2 berries off camera. I will come back when we are done, now that you know how to do it. and we can see the finished product. All right, see you in a sec. Alrighty, we're all done. That is it here, our festive chocolate holly cake. I have another one here that I've added a tie to that you can hang to the tree. So you can either use these as children's toys or decorations for your tree. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up below, and also don't forget to subscribe. And definitely hit that alert button so you don't miss any of our DIY Advent Calendar series. And thank you again from Felt Mercantile. Send us a comment if you have any suggestions for future videos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.